You're not lazy. You're not broken. And that voice in your head that keeps whispering, "Why can't I just do it?" That voice is asking the wrong question. Laziness is not your problem. Direction is, clarity is, and maybe courage. Because the truth is, people don't stay stuck because they're weak. They stay stuck because they don't know where to go or who they're supposed to become. Let's be real. You're not sitting around all day doing nothing. You're thinking. Constantly. Endlessly. Your mind is like a browser with 47 tabs open, some from years ago still running in the background, draining your energy. And you're tired. But not the kind of tired that sleep fixes. It's the kind of tired that sits in your bones, that makes everything feel heavy, even breathing. You have ideas. So many of them. Moments of inspiration where everything feels possible, where you see a future version of yourself that's alive, focused, fulfilled. But then that window closes. Reality rushes back in, and suddenly you're back to the loop. Distraction, procrastination, guilt, repeat. You scroll past other people doing what you want to do. They're creating, building, moving. And you feel like a ghost, present but invisible, aware but stuck. You keep wondering, why can't I just do it? What the hell is wrong with me? But here's the thing you haven't been told. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not weak. You're not lazy. You're someone with a mind that's been overloaded, a heart that's been discouraged, and a soul that's been suffocating under the weight of expectations. And you know what's even more exhausting than not doing the work? Thinking about the fact that you're not doing the work. All the time, you beat yourself up every day for not living up to your potential. You carry guilt like it's a personality trait. But guilt isn't a motivator. It's a slow poison. It keeps you spinning in shame while convincing you that the solution is to just try harder. You've tried that. It doesn't work. Because this isn't about effort. It's about alignment. Something inside you is resisting the life you're trying to force. And until you listen to that resistance, not ignore it, not drown it out, but listen, you'll keep feeling like you're pushing a boulder up a hill with no summit in sight. So before you go searching for another hack or routine or productivity method, pause. Let's stop treating the symptoms. Let's look deeper. You don't need to work harder. You need to understand why you stopped working in the first place. We need to talk about the word lazy because it's one of the most damaging labels we put on ourselves. Lazy implies you don't care, that you're indifferent, undisciplined. But let me ask you something. Does a lazy person lie awake at night mentally flogging themselves for not doing more? Does a lazy person obsess over their goals, feel deep guilt over their inaction, and desperately wish they could change? No. What you're feeling isn't laziness. It's something far more complex and far more human. Most lazy people aren't indifferent. They're overwhelmed. When your to-do list becomes a monument to everything you haven't done, your brain doesn't go into let's tackle it mode, it goes into shut down and hide mode. This is your nervous system trying to protect you. Because from its perspective, everything looks like a threat. Failure, judgment, embarrassment, disappointment. What looks like procrastination is often paralysis. What looks like apathy is often fear. What looks like indifference is often someone who once cared too much and got burned. And there's something else no one talks about. Directionlessness masquerading as laziness. If you don't know where you're going, how can you expect to move with energy and purpose? Your internal GPS is screaming, recalculating, but you keep pressing the gas pedal, hoping motion will make meaning. This creates a vicious cycle. You don't act because you don't know where to go. You feel guilty for not acting. That guilt drains your energy even more, so you do even less. Eventually, the brain gives up. It tells you, maybe this is just who you are. But that voice is a liar. It's not you. It's the echo of confusion, shame, and fatigue echoing through an overstimulated mind. So let's stop calling it laziness. Let's call it what it really is. Misalignment, overwhelm, fear, emotional exhaustion. And yes, sometimes not knowing who the hell you are anymore. Once you understand that, you can stop fighting yourself. Because you're not broken. You just need a new way of seeing yourself. Let's pull back the curtain and look at what's really happening under the surface. Because this isn't about laziness or lack of hustle, this is about how your mind works. And right now, your mind is stuck in a psychological gridlock. Number 1, lack of clarity. Psychologically, clarity is power. When you don't know what matters most, your brain treats everything as equally urgent or equally meaningless. This is called decision fatigue. You burn out not from doing too much, but from thinking about doing too much. Eventually, your brain shuts down to preserve energy. It's a survival mechanism, not a character flaw. Number 2, dopamine dysregulation. Every notification, every scroll, every just one more is training your brain to crave immediate rewards. Over time, the reward centers in your brain become desensitized. So when you try to do something meaningful but slow, you feel resistance. Not because it's boring, but because your brain's reward system has been hijacked. This is why things that used to light you up now feel dull. Number 3, learned helplessness. Martin Seligman's classic study showed that when people or animals are exposed to uncontrollable setbacks, they eventually stop trying, even when escape becomes possible. If you've tried and failed enough times, you stop believing your effort matters. This belief lodges deep in your subconscious and creates a learned pattern of stuckness. You're not trying. You've just been taught that trying doesn't work. Number 4, fear of failure, perfectionism, and ego. Perfectionism is not about wanting things to be perfect. It's about wanting to avoid the pain of being imperfect. Your ego would rather you do nothing than risk doing something poorly. So you wait, you polish, you prepare, and nothing gets done. This is executive dysfunction in disguise, paralysis masked as high standards. Number 5, identity conflict. If the person you're trying to become clashes with the identity you've unconsciously accepted, you will sabotage yourself. Your brain hates dissonance. So if you say you want success but believe you're destined to fail, your actions will always follow the belief. Understanding this isn't just insightful, it's essential. You're not failing because you're weak. You're fighting a battle inside your mind. And the first step to winning it is knowing who you're up against. Let's zoom out. Not everything can be explained with brain scans and behavioral studies. Sometimes the reason you feel stuck is spiritual, existential. You're not just lost in your productivity. You're lost in your purpose. Carl Jung said, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. And that's what so many of us do. We bury ourselves in distractions, not because we're lazy, but because facing the deeper questions is terrifying. What if I never figure it out? What if I'm not enough? What if I become everything they said I would, and I still feel empty? Viktor Frankl, who survived the Holocaust, believed that the human drive isn't pleasure or power, it's meaning. And when we can't find meaning, we fall into what he called the existential vacuum, a psychological void where people numb themselves with work, entertainment, addiction, or apathy. Sound familiar? Alan Watts challenged us to rethink our obsession with control. He said life is not a problem to be solved, but an experience to be lived. But we don't live. We optimize. We chase the next level, the next version of ourselves, the next dopamine hit, thinking it'll finally make us feel whole. Nietzsche went even deeper. He said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how." And that's the truth you've been avoiding. If you don't know why you're doing what you're doing, if your life is structured around someone else's definition of success, if you're climbing a mountain that doesn't even matter to you, then yes, of course you'll feel unmotivated. Of course you'll self-sabotage. It's not because you're incapable. It's because your soul is rejecting a path that isn't yours. So maybe the question isn't, how do I get motivated? Maybe the question is, what would a life that feels true actually look like? And are you willing to build it, piece by imperfect piece? Here's the part where most videos would say, just start. Just do it. Grind harder. But you've heard all that before, and if it worked, you wouldn't be here right now. So let's not insult your intelligence with surface-level advice. You don't need noise. You need clarity. The path forward doesn't start with a productivity hack. It starts with a decision to stop running away from yourself. Because the truth is, you don't need more motivation. You need to know what you're moving toward. And that means asking harder questions. Who are you beneath the noise? What do you value? Not what you've been told to value. What kind of life actually feels worth waking up for? The work ahead isn't glamorous. It's not flashy. It's quiet. It looks like confronting your own contradictions. It looks like grieving the version of you that tried to do everything for everyone else. It looks like choosing one thing and letting the rest fall away. Start small. Not because small is easier, but because small is real. Choose one priority, not 10. Create a container, a routine, a ritual of boundary where that priority lives. Then show up. Imperfectly. Consistently. This is how you begin to rebuild trust with yourself. Because right now, that's what's broken, not your potential, but your self-trust. You've made too many promises you didn't keep. You've said tomorrow too many times. So your subconscious doesn't believe you anymore. That's not fixed with willpower. It's fixed with follow-through, small, consistent proof that you mean what you say. And while you're doing that, remove the noise. Unfollow people who make you feel like you're behind. Take a break from things that keep your nervous system in fight or flight. Replace guilt with curiosity. Instead of why am I like this, ask what is this feeling trying to tell me? And finally, stop waiting for clarity to come before you act. Clarity is a consequence of movement, not a prerequisite. You figure it out by doing, by trying, by failing and adjusting. There's no perfect moment coming. There's just this one, imperfect, honest, and yours. So start here, with the confusion, with the fear, with the uncertainty, because this is the doorway back to yourself. You're not lazy, you're just lost. But being lost is not a life sentence. It's a call to stop running, to turn inward, and to finally ask yourself, if I stripped away everything I was told to be, who would I choose to become? That answer is waiting for you. And you don't have to get it all right. You just have to begin, even if it's messy. Especially if it's messy. Because clarity isn't something you find. It's something you create, one honest step at a time. And maybe, just maybe, that step starts now.